back for episode, I think we're 4 now, Benny. We are happy to be here. We've got a lovely guest today, a long-term friend of mine. Her name is Jess Templeton. She's recently become a director of a local real estate agency. She's a fantastic human. She's always got a smile on her face. I feel like we've got a few bubbly people that have always started our conversations off that way. But we're going to go through Jess and mine's life together. We've known each other for near on 15 years now. It's been a long time. I don't remember half of our friendship, but I'm sure there's plenty of things that we can dig up about each other and have a good yarn about. Plenty of fun times when we were younger, a lot of mutual friends. So we'll get stuck into it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Is that what you're supposed to say when you're on a podcast? I'm honoured to be here.
No, yeah, pleasure to have you, to be honest, because there's so much going on in your life all the time. So thanks for squeezing me in.
No worries.
Benny and I hugely appreciate you being here, even though you see him almost every other day.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. Excited to be here.
So the warm welcome, we'll stop there. No, not really, but we'll start off with a question just to get the tongue rolling. If you had to be on a reality TV show, what one would it be and why?
Well, I've always wanted to go on Big Brother.
Big Brother?
Yeah, like I love like the games, and it's not like a love place. You're not going on like Love Island. I do watch Love Island and love it, but like, it's not for me. I am happily not married, but have a partner.
Happily not married.
But like,
sorry, Togs, that's not going to come out the best.
yeah,
Jess.
I know, I didn't. But anyway, yeah, Big Brother. I would love to be on Big Brother. They don't make it anymore, but I reckon back in the day, like when we were younger, it was in its prime.
Who was your favourite?
Or
Sarah Marie?
What's the show? That they're in the wild, the jungle.
Yeah, in the jungle.
What is it? What's it called? I'm a celebrity. I'm not a
That's the
celebrity,
one.
but it's something like that. That would
That's
be fun.
goals. That's
Or Survivor. Something like outdoorsy.
Right, yeah.
I love adventure. I love I think that would be really fun.
How do you think
Being
that
away
you...
from society.
How do
No
you
one
thi-
can call me.
The phone stops.
No one can.
You've
no
got
one
an
can
out of
bother
office.
me. Yeah.
You've got an absolute out of office. How do you think that you would go with the more disgusting parts of, say, the jungle or Survivor, eating insects or really roughing it?
I'm up for the challenge.
You're up for the challenge?
Yeah. I'm pretty determined, so I would hate it. It would be, you would just do it. I think I would just be like, this isn't going to fucking kill me. It's fine. Just eat it. Hype myself up.
Do you think that's part of your personality as a general, is that you just go, I'm just going to get through it, I'm just going to do it, and then come out to the other side?
Yeah, it's not going to kill me for the most part.
What's the hardest thing that you've done lately?
I don't know. I don't really think I've done anything like super necessarily like a tough. Like I just think life can be hard. So just a lot of life things, a lot of life decisions. Becoming a director, managing staff. There's lots of things that I challenge. Dealing with my clients. I've got really hard ones. So that's just the hard stuff. But it's every day is like something hard.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
not a day.
So I've got something for you. Women in business, you are a big supporter of other women in business, and obviously yourself are quite successful. Who do you look up to?
As another woman, I don't know if I have. Honestly, I don't have any like proper females that I really look up to. I listen to a lot of male figures, which is interesting.
Yeah. What do you think
But
that is?
I don't know. I think because if I look at like real estate, actually there is a lot of like females on podcasts and things that I listen to in real estate, I guess, if we're referencing to that. But there's not really like one female that I can say off the top of my tongue that I'm like, that is my idol. I don't know. It's just a combination of lots of people that I've listened to over time that I've taken bits and pieces out of.
Any main ones?
No one that really comes to mind, no. I probably could think of a few, but no, I'm boring.
Right.
But I listen to podcasts every day. I listen to different things every day and take it just has compounded over time.
Yeah.
So I always have, and then I've made it my own.
Is there a certain podcast that you run pretty regularly?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of like real estate, self-development stuff.
Okay.
So I listen to the Matt Steinway podcast, which he talks a lot about. Yeah, it's like health.
Sort of your mindset and your health as a real estate agent and flowing on tasks that you have to do.
Yeah. I think to do real estate, you have to be mentally pretty strong.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking after yourself outside of work so you can show up and do this job is really important.
Okay.
I don't think you could be super successful. I think you can get by in real estate really easily, but I think it would be hard to be super successful if you're not doing all the right things outside of work. It's a lifestyle.
Okay. Cool. Do you have opinions on other real estate agents outside of your business?
Not really.
No.
No. I stay in my lane. I've always just mind my own business, stay in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of always juicy goss going around in real estate, which we all love, a bit of real estate goss. But yeah, I don't know. I just stay in my lane, do my thing.
Yeah.
Just be a good person.
Yeah. Do you find that staying in your own lane try to helps or keeps you focused within your own game as well?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think that real estate's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And I think so many agents will use bringing down other agents to make them, they think that's a way of making themselves look better, but I think it does the opposite.
Yeah.
If you're pitching for business and you're putting someone else down to make you look better, I think it just comes across as the opposite.
In what way do you think that bringing other people down, because I have a very similar experience within our own industry of the mortgage broking world, we find it that it would be more, it's bank versus broker, and broker as a whole is very much, we're a team, we're there to help each other. Don't shit on other brokers because we're there for each other. I can call most brokers that I know in Geelong, and if I need a hand or someone's a professional in something that I don't have experience in, they can lend me a hand with it and just point me in the right direction or give me advice on where you should go. It's a good little community that we have. So it's very much bank first broker. If anybody ever speaks out about other brokers, it's very much shunned and underappreciated. And I think it's become more prevalent as of late. So I find that really interesting where you compare that to a real estate where it seems like anybody that's talking within real estate, or there isn't another big brand or big business that you're fighting, such as a bank, that you can put down to bring up another culture, essentially, is what I'm talking as broker. So how do you find that the people putting down other real estate agents, what's your perspective on when they're putting other people down? It's
just a really competitive industry.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of egos in real estate. Unfortunately, like that's just, it attracts that nature, I think, of people. Because, I don't know, I think with real estate agents, we're not, I always put down, like me and Ricky always say, we're not saving lives, we're just normal, everyday people trying to help people achieve their real estate goals. But it's just really competitive. So I think that it's quite tragic, to be honest, but it's easy for real estate agents to say, oh, she doesn't sell in this area, or it's just different types. They use different lines, and I've heard so many different things, or they just say not nice things about each other. It's just awful. But real estate's a different kettle of fish of an industry. It's like the only industry that even clients will tell you how to do their job. It's just an interesting industry. But it's just really competitive. So it brings out people's competitive side because it's hard to get business. And that's the biggest thing. If you've got no listings or if you've got nothing to sell, you're not making an income because it's all commission based. You don't have the comfort of waking up every day and just earning an income. If you don't have those listings, got nothing to sell, no income. So the more listings, the better. But I don't know. I think I'm just trying to think of even some examples right now of what people have said.
Some things that sort of spring to mind for myself is that I've got a few real estate agents on my feeds that sort of pop up from time to time as well. And them talking about specifics of if your real estate agent doesn't do this, they should be calling you, maybe showing text messages, something like that. It's never naming anybody, where you might see it from a different perspective, where you're talking in an industry where names are very prevalent to each other. But yeah, I don't know if I'm a massive fan of just, bringing down a
code. I think there's this time that you can talk about if the agent's doing the right thing. When we've got a client that comes to us and their house has been on the marketplace for over 6 months and they're not happy with their current agent, obviously you've got to dig deeper to understand why isn't it sold? What are they doing? Are they sending you reports? Are they calling the buyers? Do you know X? And there's a lot of scenarios that I can give you where we've taken on business and it's been listed for like over 6 months and the agent's just not doing the right thing.
But that's natural though. If there can be like a variation of reasons why someone hasn't sold a property and you're coming on as a fresh face with a fresh set of eyes, just because one plan doesn't work, and that's very obvious that one plan doesn't work doesn't mean another one's not. Personal tactics.
Some agents aren't doing the right thing, unfortunately. So it's case by case.
Can you tell me what some of the things that aren't the right things to be doing
We've just taken on one in Highton, and the agent, this is a good example, is the agent that was opening it was doing 15-minute opens. He wasn't sending any vendor reports. He really wasn't running the process effectively once we dug deeper into it. The house is on a slope when we went into it. So when he was taking the inquiries, the agent was like, oh, just so you know, it is on a slope. So it has had some large movement. And so buyers were like, well, I'm not going to come through if you're already telling me that it's like there's a major structural issue with the house.
Okay.
So just things like that. And then we've taken it on. She's obviously come to really unhappy, really upset. She's not doing the right things. She's left her phone in the house recording him to see what he says to the buyers. And it's just some unprofessional things. And just the first things he says was a male on this occasion. Yeah, it just wasn't selling the house whatsoever.
Yeah.
We took it on. I got a building inspection and the builder was like, there's nothing wrong with the house. It's on a slope. It was poured that way. So if the agent had just done that from the get-go and investigated the issue before making an assumption of what he was actually selling, he would have been able to probably sell it.
Okay, so these are really small things that makes a big difference.
And you've just screwed up that lady's campaign, wasted $3,000 of her money on marketing, and wasted time for 6 months. So there's just little things that we do differently that make a huge difference. Our like attention to detail is like second to none.
Do you think that your confidence in situations like that comes from experience within being prepared?
For sure. Yeah. I've dealt with so many situations. I've been doing it for 12 years now. There's not many situations I haven't dealt with. We're always just leveling up, I think, with what we do. And different situations where things go wrong. But it's just knowing what you're selling. And I think, so that's just one example. When we've taken on another listing from another agent, and that agent just has missed some key parts to making sure he knows what he's selling. And also it's the energy. I think we show up with really good vibes, big energy, which makes a huge difference. And understanding what the client's after, asking lots of questions, just doing all of the right things throughout a campaign. It's very structured. We have a strategy for everything and a thought behind everything. We have KPIs around inspection numbers. And if we're not meeting that, that's a conversation we need to have. There's just a lot that goes into each campaign and a lot of thought. So it's not just like, we get some photos, chuck it online and hope for the best, which I think a lot of agents do, is they just rely on the market to sort it out.
So this isn't shit talking. This is just speaking factual about what your experiences are within the market.
Yeah. I think that agents, like in 2025, the digital space is exciting, but it also makes people lazy. Or lazier.
How do you find the transition from post-COVID, where, not discrediting anybody's job here, but houses were selling themselves? I went around with you for a little bit.
I was taken back. I know, it was raining money. Take me back. It was so good.
How do you find the transition? Because from an outsider's point of view, that's still somewhat in the industry of homes, not quite as heavy as a real estate agent, but the work that had to go into selling a house then to then post-COVID now is drastically different.
Oh, it's huge.
Especially in the last probably 12 to 18 months, the different work levels that you would have had to have done to sell a house. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, COVID was great. Like I remember we would launch a property on a Thursday, get all the offers in, like open it on the Saturday, get all offers in, have 10 offers lined up. I've got like photos of like contracts, just 10 lined up that I'd present to my client. Be done by Tuesday. No vendor reports. It was just, it was wild. It was not normal. But now we transitioned into a normal market. Just a lot of tough conversations. But what we've seen is probably a lot of mortgage stress, like a lot of divorces, a lot of separations. Like that's brought a lot of emotion. So we get in touch with a lot of people's personal lives through real estate. So it's just been a lot. And I run a volume based business. So we have a lot of stock. We probably at the moment run anywhere from like 15 to 40 pieces of listing at one time. So that's a lot of vendors that you're dealing with and a lot of problems and a lot of things that you're just constantly handling. And the marketplace, like the transition on price and just working through that. And what also happened is the inflation of material costs as well. Houses that required, like I sold one to a client a couple of years ago when it was strong and it had major structural defects at that time. And they were like, yep, great, we'll renovate it. That's when it was exciting to renovate, subdivide, develop. And then they've also copped the pullback in the marketplace as well as the inflation of material costs, which has brought their house back even further. So most houses had pulled back by about 10% in Geelong. But then add on, if your house has major structural defects and you're trying to resell it in a harder market, so tricky. That's a 100K loss on your price bracket, which that one, as an example, we sold it to them a couple of years ago for $810 and I resold it recently for $710.
Oh, wow.
Because it needed so much work. Because in a normal market, it might have pulled back by 10%.
Right.
So 80 grand.
Yeah.
But add on a bit of mayo for the inflation of materials. They're the hardest ones.
Yeah.
But we've had some other great case studies. It just depends. Every property is really different.
Because it would have been pre-COVID, the doer-uppers would have been
that's like
a favourite
was
in the
exciting.
market. Yeah.
Yep. Development sites were exciting. Everyone wanted to get STCA. That was like, tick. I'm taking that. Everyone,
So STCA is subject to council approval.
yes. Everyone sees that, and so many people were like, oh, people didn't know what it was. They just thought, oh, that's that. I'm looking
It's
for
approved
that.
already. I don't even have to do anything.
So
You
yeah,
don't see it much on listings anymore, though, do you?
it's just not. There's not much money in development unless.
Was that the fad term at the time?
Yeah, everyone. It's coming back a little bit, but there's got to be a lot of meat on the bone
Mm-hmm.
for it to make it like. And we still get clients all the time saying, "You got any developers on your books? You got any developers?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you probably don't want to sell to them because they're probably going to give you peanuts.
Yeah.
You want to find someone that's going to trade you, or whatever, someone that's going to do it up." But yeah, it's really interesting.
Probably find that people want to deal with developers because they hear so many good news stories of the farmer down the road that owned a big block of land and he got offered $3.5 million for a patch of land that he bought for $100,000 back in 1980.
Yeah.
It's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
And especially not on small blocks of land where you're only going to subdivide once. It's going to go to a mum and dad. Like that market, especially from what I've found, has really dropped out. For a key reason that you indicated before was that it just costs too much to build these days.
Yeah,
That's just
so
gone through the roof. Especially in the newer areas, we're finding that the land developers as well will have, say, the block of land is 450,000, but then they've got rebates back to on settlement for $30,000 off. So it ends up being 420. That's a challenge in itself for when we start to talk about valuations and are we trying to hide those rebates from valuations and stuff like that as well. Whilst the physical price listing hasn't come down, those rebates are an adjustment where the developers are saying, hey, we fucked up here. We got too greedy. We're trying to adjust it in the market as well.
Yeah, it's been a wild time. It's been a wild ride. So there's the last couple of years has been bloody hard. But like also we've had some amazing campaigns and there's always some easier ones and some great, success stories, but a lot of tough stuff. Like people post, like we post all the great, amazing things that happen in real estate. Like you can see all the highlight reels, but there's so much behind the scenes. Like so many things go wrong every single day. I can't tell you. Every day I'm like, fuck, what's this? What's going to happen now? Like it's literally like you're literally putting out fires all day. Like we had two last week where they both fell through. One was the finance, the other one I think it was building inspection. We got back on the phones and we were able to get them done again off market by the end of the week. So it's just you're constantly like mediating things.
Yeah.
But then along the way you do have some successes.
Okay.
But yeah, just the last couple of years it's been hard, but it's been good. A lot of growth.
A lot more rewarding.
A lot of growth. It's getting a little bit easier now. Yeah. So hopefully I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I hope that we're going into a bit of an easy market. It feels like it's slowly recovering.
Yeah.
And COVID is
a distant memory by now.
Yeah, that's all over. And I don't think it'll ever go back to that market where it'll be like 10 offers in a row. Like we're just in a really normal market now where there's confidence coming back into the marketplace.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the thing with interest rates, it's boring topics, I don't want to talk about it for too long, but I think now what is happening is that people have comfort in knowing that they're not going to keep going up. And it doesn't even matter the amount.
Yeah.
So we've only come back by 0.2%, whatever, you're saving basically nothing. But it's the comfort of we're not going to keep going up. It's going to at some point maybe level out.
Yeah.
So it's going
to that 0.25 that we've come back from on a $500,000 loan is generally going to be about $100 a month on a $500,000 loan.
Yeah.
So while it can be a lot to some people it's a grocery shop a week.
It's not life-changing though.
It's not life-changing, but when they compound one on top of the other, and hopefully at some point there are more to come, what it does, as you said, it gives confidence back into the market. And when there's confidence back, it comes back in that people aren't as stressed about where the money's going to go. They're happy to go out and make offers on properties.
Yeah. So we're seeing like a lot more confidence come back in the marketplace. I think this year so far we've sold 25 properties so far, and it's only been like not even 8 weeks, which is huge.
So that's you
huge
alone.
Start. Yeah. So
they're big numbers.
Yeah.
So you've got a goal for this year of 100, is that right?
100, target 100, and 25 in.
25 in, and you're 6 weeks into the year.
Yes.
And really, how many houses did you sell in the first 2 weeks?
I sold 12. I don't know the first 2 weeks, but maybe I sold 12 in January.
Or would they have come in the second half of January?
No, we got straight back into it.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So from the 6th of Jan, we were on.
Yeah.
We were ready. And then, yeah, this month's been huge.
Yeah.
So,
So you spoke about before the balance of dealing with clients on a regular basis and the emotional investment when selling somebody's property. The mortgage of two people that are getting separated, how do you find that balancing act of dealing with people that are going through a separation and trying to sell a house at the same time? Do you sometimes feel like you're a mitigator between the two, trying to contact both parties, or is it quite amicable most of the time?
oh, it's always different. But yeah, like I've got a few at the moment that hate each other's guts.
Yeah. How do you go about that?
Just talk to them separately.
Yeah.
All the other knows, like we have like group chats for everyone. So normally we'll have a group chat, but we just keep everything very separate and we don't get involved. We just keep it very neutral.
Yeah.
Very professional, as someone would say. Yes, just let them. And we hear that a lot of the time they vent to us. So
Yeah.
like they'll vent to me, like you become a psychologist,
Okay.
right? And you just listen.
Yeah.
So we hear a lot of the juicy gossip and everyone's lives. I don't know. I think I've got a good way of making people feel comfortable. Also, I'm interested. I want to know the tea. Give me the gossip, what's going on in your life, and let me listen. So I'm always listening. I give my opinion without giving my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I just comfort. I'm really good at comforting people. Like, we see all the time. Like, you've got people that have cheated or people that have, I don't know. And you just they just listen. It's funny, but not funny because their life is in shambles right now. But I don't know. Most of my it's not funny. I wasn't saying I'm laughing at my clients. I'm there to support them, but it's
It's
something.
entertaining.
Yeah.
But when you say it's funny, it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
of juiciness for the day, and then you've
Yeah.
got a story to tell. We have so many stories
Yeah.
to tell. Like around, like I go back to the office and I'm like,
Are you going to
so
have to give us one right now? You can't say there's so many stories to tell and not tell us a story.
I don't know. There's lots of stories.
Person one and person two stories.
Like deceased estate stories. There's just like people, the way people live. Just like what's happened and why they're breaking up.
Give us an example of something juicy.
I don't know if I've got something juicy right now. It's not my head.
Bodies.
Oh, so we've just listed this one, and it was a really good campaign. We just sold it. Anyways, just listed this one, and I went into the house, and I don't know, I just got all these like weird feelings, and then I was like, so what happened? And anyways, the guy had inherited the house from his parents,
Right.
and just didn't look after it. Was an alcoholic. Apparently a hoarder. It was disgusting. Like, disgusting. Anyways, he was so drunk one day, he fell into his washing and then suffocated and died. That's not funny, but it's pretty fucked up.
Mate,
Shit like that.
mate.
I hear stuff like that. It's sad. It's really sad.
It is sad,
But that's the shit that we hear.
but there's so many questions.
I know.
So when you walked into this property, what was the state of it? If he's a hoarder, is there just stuff everywhere?
They've gotten everything out.
Okay,
There's
so
a lot of cobwebs.
Right, okay.
Disgusting.
Okay. Did you get any detail?
No,
It
there's
fell
nothing.
into his washing.
Yeah.
So there's a pile of washing.
And he was found, his friend went to do, obviously just check, I don't know, see. And then they called the police and that's how they found him. And then they suspect that it was suffocation.
So if I ever say to anybody, and this is a legit thing, I've got plenty of washing to do all the time, and now that's my new excuse. If I can't see you and I've got a lot of washing to do, it's because I don't want to die by suffocation.
But you're not alcoholics. Let's start there. Let's hopefully not get you
You
too
never
drunk.
know when I could trip and fall and leave my own washing.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
To be honest, I've been so busy since I gotten back from overseas. I'd washed everything and then it had sat in my washing basket for 2 weeks, folded, ready to put away. But it got
I
on top
can't
of me.
deal with that.
No,
Everything
neither can
needs
I.
to be away that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't deal. Needs to be
I'm
away.
normally pretty good, but it's been a little bit hectic since I've gotten back and like all folded, all neat, all ready to go. But I had to get it through the drawers, and
Yeah, washing.
so I don't think that I'm gonna die
Anyways.
if I trip and fall into
I didn't mean to
folded
laugh.
washing.
I'm not. I didn't mean to laugh at it, but just lots of situations like that.
It's
What the
funny
fuck?
because it's absurd.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
random
yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
There's just lots of little things, and you're just dealing. And also, I deal with a lot of people with mental health problems. So you walk into their house, and it's just a shit show.
Yeah,
And then you got to telling people how to live. I'm not your fucking mum. Do you
Yeah.
know? But I am. Like at this
you got to
point-
clean up. If
Yeah.
you're gonna get people through the property, then you need to
Yeah.
clean up. This needs to
Yeah.
look a certain way.
Yeah.
It needs to be what your favourite word would be: presentable.
Presentable, yes. And then you deal with a lot of tenants, and yeah, I don't know. We've got this one tenant, and the vendors took down the front fence. I don't know why. Anyways, they've done an awful job with the renovation, and we're trying to sell this house. It's so bad. And she leaves her dog tied up outside on a chain because she doesn't have a fence. And it's just stuff like that. It just feels bad. Yeah. Anyways, there's just lots of things that we have to deal with in real estate, and there's lots of different funny stories. But I guess that's one. That's not funny.
It's an interesting story. We're going to leave it at funny. I was a bit gobsmacked by it. That's it. We've known each other, as we spoke about, for a very long time. Do you remember the first time that we met?
No, I have no idea, but it probably was at like one of the parties that we used to go to for sure. Probably will really lit. But I think, no. Do you?
I don't think so. It would have been in Grovedale at Jutland.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had a couple of mutual friends at the time, and you all lived together. Jutland, gee, what a time! What
it's
a
demolished, by the way. Now I remember there was mushrooms.
Is there townhouses there?
Yeah, there's townhouses.
Yeah.
Our first share house, I moved out straight over when I was 18. It was awful. It was mushrooms.
You reckon Jutland was awful?
Did you see that house? It was a shithole. But like it was all like obviously they accepted our application. None of us had leased before because it was a shithole. I mean, it was a house. It was great.
House was
so many memories.
I don't think they would have minded about having people renting there for the first time, simply because the indoor walls were all brick, like exposed brick. You can't kick a hole in the wall.
Yeah, and there was such a bad water leak that was mushrooms all growing down all the hallway.
All the hallway. I do remember that one just outside your room and
disgusting.
And Hosco's room like that. Yeah.
At the end of the lease, we had a tarp in the in the hallway. It was like $80 a week, $70 a week. It was so cheap. It was all we could afford.
Yeah.
We were broke.
How many bedroom was it? 4.
4.
Yeah.
So many different people came in and lived there. It was fun. It was such a fun time.
It was a really fun
I had a really
house.
fun. Yeah.
Had an unbelievable amount of weekends there.
So, yeah,
I didn't live there, but I felt like I was there every other weekend, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So just, I think.
I reckon I got the tattoo on my foot in that lounge room.
Yeah, I think everyone got a tattoo then.
Do you have a tattoo from what's yours?
No, I didn't think I got one. No, I was pretty sensible at that point. I don't know. Not sensible, but I chose not to
Living
get a
with
tattoo.
someone that has a tattoo done that doesn't mind whipping it out on a regular basis.
I think most people that were there definitely.
Betty's over the back celebrating this one.
There was a lot of people that got tattoos. So.
Yeah, me being one of them. I think it was on the end of a Sunday 3-day bender or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun. So yeah, definitely probably in our party era.
Yes.
I reckon that's where we would have.
Thank Christ those days are behind us.
Yeah, I can't handle it anymore. We're all
Too much
mature
time,
adults, business owners.
What was your impression of me back then? Honestly.
I don't really have an impression. I thought you were quite... You've always spoke really well. I think maybe because I went to Newcombe and you went to a private school, maybe.
Maybe. I don't think... I barely think the school that I went to could be considered...
Private school?
Yeah, I went
You
to
did.
Joey's, but it's not...
Yeah, you've always articulated things pretty well.
Yeah.
Whereas I've been like... I don't know. I think I've just always appreciated you.
I think that we speak quite the same, though.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to hear your thoughts.
Maybe it's just when I'm around you, I like speak like you. You know,
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
No. But yeah, I don't know. I think we've grown together through business and life and become closer. You know what they say, you're like the 5 people you hang around with. But I think us trying to go out on our own and start kind of businesses and do, I guess, try and be somewhat successful. I think that brought us together. And through careers that intertwine, like real estate and being a broker, it made us connect, I think, a lot more.
Because we've worked together quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot.
And I think that having someone that you trust on the other side of things just makes your job a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone calls up and they're like, yep, you have a broker recommendation, you just know I can pick up the phone and call you and see how it's all going.
Yeah.
We get a lot of brokers and they're like, this is the Privacy Act. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can't tell you that information. You know, it's private.
And I think there's a big difference, and we've spoken about this so many times. It's not like I'm saying to you in terms of the deal's going to go somewhere is really what I'm trying to indicate.
That assurance. Or it's not about telling us what undies they're wearing. You've got
100%.
confidence in the deal.
Yeah. There's no need for it.
Can you confirm that they do have the 10% deposit? Can you confirm X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
We've had over the years so many brokers just not help, and I'm like, I would never refer you on. You're not helpful whatsoever, and we're trying to keep the deal together for your client. So if you're asking for an extension, helping us to give us a bit of confidence.
I'm huge
right
on
now,
I'm really big on that.
Pisses me off when I call a broker and they're like, sorry, we can't help you, or they're just rude.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll often get a lot of phone calls from real estate agents, but often the real estate agents are quite rude.
Yeah,
so
that
I think
surprised
that
me.
it can be a bit of
Real estate
a
agents,
it can be a tone thing, like
the authority.
yeah, try to come down on you, and
Ego.
you're like, hang on, mate. Like, one, who are you?
Yeah.
Two,
What's
don't speak to me
nothing
like
nice?
it doesn't. Don't speak to me like that.
Yeah.
And then so I think it's definitely a tone thing that when you get a call from somebody, but giving back the other way is we're going somewhere, we're just having a slight delay with. Sometimes you can say it, or sometimes you can't. There's a bank delay or something like that. We're waiting on the valuations to come back. Something small, and it's okay. Very rarely is anything actually catastrophic.
I'm so grateful for brokers that even like randomly call me and just say, hey, just wanted to give you an update. We're on track. I'm like, wow, I love you. Like, I remember those brokers. If there's any advice to brokers, is just be nice to real estate agents. You could get so much more business. But yeah, there's so many out there. But vice versa. There's probably real estate agents that is like a rude and like they've been to you or whatever. But we've dealt, when we're obviously working together, it's not that we're expecting you to disclose any more information then. It's just
Am I wasting my time, yes or no?
Yeah, and it's just giving our clients confidence that we're going under contract, we're taking the property off for the market for 2 to 3 weeks potentially. We want to make sure that we're taking off the market for a qualified buyer. That's all.
Yeah. And that's not hard to, there's no privacy act in that.
No,
it's just
correct.
like wasting your time or not.
Yeah.
Do you have a fondest memory of our adventures together over time?
Not really. I think...
Not really.
Not really.
Nothing good.
I think
You suck.
I think my memories with you have just been us growing professionally together. That's probably my fondest memories.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated you on this journey and can always pick up the phone to you. That would be the best memory that I've got. It's just, it's great watching us both grow and develop and where we've come from. Where we both started.
Yeah.
It was bloody hard to get to this point. Do you know what I mean? That would be my fondest memory. We could talk about the fun times of getting lit and having some beers or whatever.
Let's go there. Let's go there for a second. I do have a fond memory of of us growing up together, and it's only because I have a photo of it. There was a nightclub in Melbourne, and I don't think it's there anymore. It's called Cloud 9, or it was called Cloud 9. We were there on opening night, and it was pumping.
But like.
Yeah, I think that's a fond memory of mine. I think if you can, I'm not going to show the photo, but if someone's to dig up the photo, they can see us
when
there.
I was younger,
We don't look too well. And I remember that night that I got to spill the tea on myself here because I don't know if you remember it, but I remember being there downstairs with a few of the boys, and I'd had a fair bit to drink that night.
I don't know what you're going to say right now.
And it was closing up downstairs, and like whenever they close up, it was still full. Opening night, it was a massive nightclub launch.
It's Melbourne. I don't think they sleep over there.
They turned the lights on downstairs, and as soon as they turned the lights on, I looked at. I remember Sheedy being next to me, and there was somebody else next to me, and I just looked at him, and I'm like, "Those lights aren't sitting well with me." And I just grabbed my stomach, threw up in my mouth instantly, ran over to the bin, started throwing up in the bin, and the security guard was like, "Come on, mate, we're closed anyway. Time to go." Went up the stairs, throwing the guts up the stairs, got out the front, and then I just proceeded to throw up for about 10 minutes. I was not well. And because everybody was leaving, everybody was walking past me at the time of the main exit.
Nothing worse. Oh,
Yes.
We've definitely had some nights out. I think there was a stage, I remember we were going to Melbourne so much. I lost my phone 3 weekends in a row. And I remember I kept taking out plans. Also, at this point, I had no money. So I remember like my phone.
Was this when you were working in real estate?
Yes,
or
I was working in real estate. I remember one time I went out on a Saturday night. I know. Jaden fucking killed me nearly. And I lost my phone on a night out. And for whatever reason, I agreed to do a Sunday open home.
Oh, no.
And I remember him trying to call me. I had no phone. And I had to take thank God I had an iPad to check people in. Rough. Oh, yeah, some wild nights. I could not do that now. But when you're young, you have a different level of energy and you don't care like you do when you get older. Yeah. I think there comes to a point when you hit 7, maybe, I reckon, and you start to take shit a bit more seriously.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I always took my career seriously, but you take it a lot more seriously. I reckon 26, 27, mid-ish 20s. But before that, it was like,
I like to
whatever.
say that 25 is the age where you can start to respect someone's opinion because they've got that a little bit of life experience after 18. They've been
Yeah.
out in the world. They've most likely lived on their own, or they're starting to pay their own bills and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's when they've got that life experience.
Yeah,
But
mid
25.
20s, mid 25s. That was when I went to Europe when I was 25, and that was a great trip. I took 5.5 months off real estate, and then after I come back, that's when I stepped out to be a real estate agent. But yeah, I think mid 20s, and that was like when I was starting to really knuckle down and save
Yeah.
and buy my first house, all that stuff.
Do you think either of us, you're a lot more successful than I? Do you think that either...
In what way? What's defined success?
Career-wise, I think that you're a lot more successful than what I am. I think that you're an incredibly driven person. I think that you're, if we're going to talk in
You
your own
can
terms,
tell me how good I was.
in terms of our own KPIs, I think that you're always ahead of the curve.
I try to be.
Yeah, I think that's what I define the personal success from career basis. I think that you're ahead on probably most people. I'm not trying to pump up your tires that much, but you should be extremely proud of where you've come from and what you've been able to achieve this year. And obviously being 25 houses sold and you've got 10 months still to do it, essentially. It's unbelievable. I think that you're going to get there. And especially when you start asking for help is when you get it too. No, you're going to get it, and we're going to have a party
I'm putting
for
it
it.
out to the universe, and I'm manifesting the dream life that I want
That
to
you
live.
will hit the mark on November 14th.
Okay.
Can we just make
About
sure
that.
that is a weekday?
November 14th.
November 14th.
Yeah, I think I'll do 100. I don't know. I think consistently.
Huh?
What's your pin?
Oh, there you go, everyone. That's his pin, probably his bank card as well.
No, it's actually not.
Everyone knows mine. Oh god. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Success looks different. I think I just have these goals. I don't know. I think I'm always like, what's next? What do I need to achieve next? Or not even what do I need to achieve
Friday.
next?
It's a Friday. See,
Okay,
perfect.
good vibes.
November
End of the week.
14th.
That's always we can.
I
always
reckon
get
that's
it
when you hit it, and you're gonna have to have a party for it. It's a massive achievement.
Yeah.
It's
I just
huge.
want to do it, like, make sure I do 100 once. I don't know if I would want to do that many consistently over years and years, but I just want to hit once and then maybe do 50 to 90 after that consistently.
Yeah.
100 is a lot.
It
for
is.
Vendors. And we're not selling $1 million properties as well. So it's just
As you
a
said,
lot.
you're very volume based.
Yeah, very volume based.
So going back into work and speaking about probably the mindset as a leader of yourself, as a woman in business, what drives you every day?
The growth, for sure. I'm definitely like huge on growth. I've got all my goals and stuff written down each year. But yeah, I don't know. I love growth, and I love, like, when I get to a point where I achieve things, I tick them off. I'm very like, okay, what's next? Like, I love having something to strive towards. I don't know why. I've just wired that way, that I'm always like, cool, what's next? And then becoming a leader was like I'd been doing sales for like now really 12 years. It was like, what's next?
Another progressive step.
Yeah, what's next? And I've learned so much about myself through leadership over the last, doing it maybe for 6 or so months, so much. So yeah, I think it's exciting. I love decision making. I love problem solving. I'm very determined. I think that, I'm really good at reading the room and understanding like what people want and need. And yeah, no, I just love it.
Yeah.
So it's just another layer to add to my pocket, I think, of the things that I'm doing and where I'm going. But yeah, mostly it's just, I'm huge on growth. Like every day I'm like doing something to progress myself. Just a little bit every day, just compounds over time. And that's how I've been able to get to where I am, is just compound.
And you're having fun in the process, to
Absolutely.
making sure
I
that
have
you're surrounded by
shitloads
the
of
right
fun.
people.
I definitely don't take everything. If anyone knows me, Ben, you work with us. If anyone knows me in the office,
You're always there for a laugh.
I love a lol.
Yeah.
And banter. We have so much banter. Also, I don't change for my clients. Like, the way that I even, like, if you've heard me on phone calls, I am Jess. I don't change. I have, obviously, there's a professional tone and conversation, but it's still, like, to who I am. And I think that's really important, is I don't have to pretend or wake up to be this person. I'm just Jess, and I've attracted my vibe of clients over time. And, yeah, I think that's been a big key part of doing what I do and the volume that I do.
Yeah.
It's just being myself.
So talking about your hustle versus your life balance, and this is a really big thing. So you're in a position that demands quite a lot from you, and people that demand a lot from you as well, like you work a lot. When you are so busy, you often lack or drop off in other areas of your life. What do you feel like you're missing out on at the moment? Or what aren't you paying attention to as much because of work can be so demanding?
The hardest thing in real estate is it consumes you so much that you becomes your identity. So like my identity, you've got to constantly, and it's something that I'm still working on. I don't think I've mastered this, is you've got to separate yourself from being a real estate agent because it's so consuming. Like my work phone's my personal phone. I'm always on, like literally always on. I'm always thinking of ideas. I drive in the car basically in silence unless I'm on a phone call.
Yeah.
So I think what I miss out on is probably I can't just clock off, and I don't just go home and not think about work. I live and breathe, fucking eat and sleep real estate.
And I think that's a big thing that we've spoken about on the podcast before, is that when you are self-employed, that identity piece is that your job is you.
Yeah.
So every time that you go and speak to somebody like a friend or how was your week, and then the barbecue conversation just becomes all about work.
Oh, I'm pretty good at separating it. I don't really talk about, like, people will be like, Jess, you're doing so well, because they see the highlight reels of real estate and all that stuff, which is great. I'm like, yeah, but I really shut it down. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing really good. Like, I never talk about, I don't really want to sit there and talk about myself. I don't think that's not my vibe. I love having some drinks with friends and talking.
How do you get around those conversations, and when someone tries to talk about work, how do you deviate it?
I just say, yeah, thanks. I don't know. We'll just start talking about them.
Because you're a yapper.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you. Yeah. You are a yapper.
I do love it.
So then you feel like you can pivot from situations.
Yeah, and I'll just start talking and ask questions about them to try and pivot away from me, or it being about me. I love talking, and I'm a very curious person. So I think I'm really good at turning the conversation around and making it about them and versus just about me. But yeah, I think real estate basically, that's my biggest issue, is consuming basically my whole life. I will be messaging clients all day. Like, my screen time is not well. And we are constantly like...
Have you got your phone? I want to see what it is.
All right.
Because it is, 11:30 now?
10 past 11.
10 past 11.
In the mornings, I do love a good scroll.
So give us a feed. What are we talking? What have you spent all your time on?
I reckon... So daily average is 7 hours and 19 minutes, which is fucked. But most of it is productivity and finance. I'm on WhatsApp a lot.
Actually,
to my clients.
Shamefully, mine is probably pretty similar.
So on my messages, which I'm texting for deals, just FYI.
Yeah.
I'm messaging clients all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of voice to text. So most of my messages, it's 4 hours and 57 minutes. That's my most used for the week.
So one thing that I would like to know, and I don't know based off this, is if you leave your phone open, because if I listen to music all day, my phone sits up. Is that screen time on because I haven't locked it? Or
No,
is
it shows me the breakdown of apps. So
yeah.
That's what I would go off of. What's your most used app? What's yours?
By week? Yeah, I'm definitely not on
Is it Tinder?
No, it's Instagram. It says daily... There is no way.
What's your week?
So daily average is 7 hours and 20 minutes. But it's somehow, I think that's over the week. It says I've been on, the daily average of Instagram is 2 hours. I think that's...
Well, mine's 5 hours. You're on Instagram a lot. I thought I was. I'm on 5 hours a week, which divided by 7 is not even an hour. What's point? No. 5 divided...
So I hate for the cop-out if I'm not replying to a message. It's because I'm not mentally prepared to reply to that message. Just like everybody...
Because you're on Instagram. There's no reason for you to not reply.
The daily average for... Yeah, so it must only go off when the app is physically open.
11, make a wish.
For you to not ask that question. No. You know what? I'm going to make a wish, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. We'll see if it
You're not
comes through.
supposed to, otherwise it doesn't...
Okay, it's in mine. So yeah, YouTube Music. Yes, before you say anything, YouTube Music is the GOAT. It is by far the best platform.
YouTube Music is great. We have that. We listen to that.
By far the best. By far the best. For finding new music, the algorithm just picks you up and throws you to a place that you haven't been, and then you can just find new music so much easier that way. I felt like Spotify when I was listening to it. Yes, I had over 1,000 songs on there, and everybody's built up their playlist, and they like to listen to it. But I'm really after new music, and I just found that YouTube's algorithm for finding things is second to none. So anyway, I listen to music all day, every day, and it must go off screen time because the daily average of YouTube Music is only 50.
I think we've got a good excuse though. I'm on my phone for work, and I'm a real estate agent. So
I don't have an excuse.
I do. All I do is literally my job is my phone. So that's what I mean. Like my lifestyle is on my phone. So yeah, like my identity.
My phone stays open quite a bit. So yeah, I reckon that even if my phone stayed open for quite a bit of time, that it would probably still be more than 2 hours of Instagram. Because if it sat up on my table over there, it would be open. Like I don't always lock my phone.
I'm on it 24/7. Although I think I
Must
still
using it.
miss a lot because I go in and out of appointments.
Do you like to start your workday a little bit later? Walk me through your morning routine
Morning routine.
because you love your morning routine.
I love my morning routine, and I will protect that with all my being because it makes me sane.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't be able to show up every day if I didn't have a morning routine. So it definitely keeps me put together and not crazy.
You wake up, what time?
So I wake up, I'll go out, I'll give you my 10 out of 10 morning routine. If it was a 10 out of 10 week, this is what it would look like.
This is what you do on your birthday if it was every day.
Every day, if I could do this, I don't do it every day, but I would try to at least 4 or 5 times a week. Wake up at 5:30, go to Pilates, come back and do some breath work, and then me and Togs will have a coffee and we'll just chill and chat and catch up or whatever. And then I will basically just listen to a podcast whilst I'm getting ready for work, get my lunch ready. I love going slow. I'm very slow in the morning. And then I'll just cruise into work when I want because, I don't know, I just don't like being like rushed. I like to rush slowly. I like to go at my own pace. And I usually get into work about between 9:30 and 10 a.m. And then I'm ready and set up for the day. And because real estate...
Now, you have support staff that help you through that morning period.
Yeah. So I've got Ava that does all of my admin now, and then Jade who supports everything else for me. So I've got a really good support system at work. So it now enables me to just take my time and go in. But as soon as I'm in the office, I'm on. Like I have my lunch at my desk and I work till 7:30 most nights.
Yep.
So that's what I mean. That's my time that I protect. And also it's very... The hours between 7 and 8 where no one fucking calls my phone, no one messages, or sometimes I do, but like it is brilliant.
I'm just going to start calling her and messaging her. It's 7:30 every morning.
It is fucking peaceful.
Jess!
It is brilliant. So that peace that I get is so nice. No, I never get peace. Like my life is chaotic. So the peace of not having a deal fall over, not having a client call me about something that's not that important. Like, it's just peaceful as fuck. It's nice. And then as soon as I'm in the office, it's just go.
Yep.
It's go all day until 7. And it's fucking hard. So that's my morning.
That's your morning.
That sets me up. And I go to work and I'm very calm, centered. I leave my shit at the door and I just go.
So something that you just touched on before is that you finish quite late. And when you finish late, you need a really good support system at home. So you mentioned his name. You've been with Tog for some time. How does he support
8 years,
you?
Lily. 8 years. How? Oh.
KTT.
No, I love him. He's good. He's great. I'm so lucky because we balance each other out. We're different. We're very different. We're very different, I think.
How do you find that he supports you in being the boss bitch that you are?
He helps everything around the house. I think we've got a dog. He looks after and does everything. And then he cooks all our dinners. I don't ever cook, so that's really
What's
helpful.
a favourite dish
And he does
from
the
him?
dishes for bonus points.
Oh.
Could you ask for much more? He is amazing. So lucky. Like, he supports in so many different ways, and we just bring so much to the table that, yeah, I don't know, that are different. But it really helps me because we would be eating at fucking 10 p.m. at night if it was up to me. So, yeah, he supports a lot around the house. But he also runs his own little small business as well. So he does that on top of that.
You going to give a little shout out there?
Taste of Tolga does 10 out of 10 street food, best in Geelong. As he would say, Geelong's best tacos. He does other food and stuff.
Why
as
isn't
well.
he at the front whipping us up?
I know. Where's my breakfast tacos, brother? But no, he's really good. We just, support each other and we, have great communication. We've just got a good system at home. But we do set it up. We have a gardener, so we don't have to fight about those things. We have a cleaner that comes every week. We don't fight about who's cleaning the fucking shower this week. So we have a good system at home, even around like washing. Like, we don't even talk about it. We just know who does what. We don't have to like pressure. We don't bicker.
How do you do that in a relationship? How do you come to those? Obviously, it comes from talking, but how did you set that up initially? You're like, this is your job. It has to be done in these days.
Just having a chat and being like, I don't want to be doing more of this or that, even though he does all the cooking. But he doesn't complain. He likes that.
Yeah.
So
that's his jam. That's what he gets
he loves that. And there's lots of other things that I'm sure I do, like maybe more of. It's just a partnership. So just communication.
Do you remember how those communications down or...
Probably a lot of arguments first about the issue, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Does it take someone then to take the responsibility to put their hand up and say, hey, I'm going to do these jobs?
Yeah.
Or do you think that the social norms of, say, taking out the bin, man's job, do you think that sort of falls into that as well?
No, I think he probably does put out the bins more than me all the time.
Who mows the lawn?
Oh, we have a gardener.
Okay, so that's the garden.
So we don't have to like again argue about my partner doesn't do this and do that or whatever. But even washing, like I put it on and I just leave it and then he hangs it.
Okay.
And then
I feel like that's a good balance, though.
yeah, and then I'll just put it on and because he has a lot more time around the house.
Do you think that a lot of people do that in their relationships, though? If someone puts the washing on, the other person has to hang it out?
No, I don't think so. I think it's weird. But then we just read each other's mind and then he'll just take it off and leave it.
I'm a huge fan of that, though.
And then I put it away
Yeah.
because I don't like how he folds the towels and stuff. So I will do that. So
that's balance.
I think like we work together without even, and we
How
don't
many
have to
arguments
speak
did
about
it
that.
take? How many arguments did it take to get to that spot?
No, I can't remember, but we just now, we don't need to have the conversation.
Yeah.
We literally don't fight about shit that's so small, which people
Mm-hmm.
do fight about, like money and this and that. We just have a really good system and we don't argue about those
Yeah,
stupid
but that's
shits.
really come from communication over time.
A lot of
And 8 years
communication.
is a really long time. So in the same breath as that, he's been there from when you started as an admin and then you've worked your way through. Now he's been able to be there to support you through
Everything.
your growth. How do you think that, from your point of view, how do you think that your success has helped shape him as a person as well?
Yeah, we both started with, nothing, like in terms of like where we came from and what, even my career. So he started, when I was on, whatever, I think I started in real estate, I was on like 38,000.
Crazy
started, like,
figures, isn't it?
Yeah, 38,000. And money's, we always say, me and Ricky always say, like in the office, like money's not taboo. I think it's important to talk about it, money and earning income, because people want to know what people earn. But no, a lot of people don't like to talk about it. But yeah, I think.
Do you think there's a threshold before we get back to shaping Tolga's life and whatnot? But do you think that with it being taboo, is there a point where there's a normal amount of money that people earn? And when you progress past that, that's when it becomes taboo. If you earn, I like to put it in the terms of the brackets where when you're on a questionnaire and it says 80 to 100,000, 100 to 125, 150 to 200, and then it's 200 and above. Do you think that it becomes taboo when you start to speak about it in that terms of 200 and above?
If you're saying it in an egotistic way, but if you're saying it in, like, I think that life's abundant and the world is abundant. And if you're curious to understand how did that person get to that point, I want
It's
to
an
know.
incredibly positive outlook on that.
I think that there's so much you can learn. I think I've got a wealth of knowledge to earn, like a great amount of income that a lot of people go to fucking university for 10 years to earn the income that I do. And I think it's genuinely, there's a system in place and you can do it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's, if you're saying it in an ego way to just like impress people, like it's not impressive. It's actually
There's definitely real estate agents out there to do it, for
it's
sure.
Tragic.
Yeah.
So I think I'm quite humble in that way. I would never go around saying what I earn or anything like that. But I think as a female as well, real estate is predominantly male. Like it always has been very male. Is it the word?
Because you can count on one hand how many female directors there are in Geelong.
Yeah.
And you being one of them.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I think that women, again, like I said before, we bring so much more to the table, but it's powerful to do it with males as well because they see things differently. We see things differently. So coming together, like me, Ricky, and Reese as leaders is amazing, like leadership in a business. But we really read the room. I think as leaders, we read the room extremely well, to be honest. And I think when I look at, there's not heaps of females, but it's becoming now more known. I think that people, like predominantly, if you look at like back in the day, a lot of people just hired males to sell their house. So it's very masculine driven industry. And you do need to have a backbone in real estate. If I look back from where I've come from.
Because you're an incredibly nice person. You are super nice. I've seen you at work. I've seen what you do on the go. And that's why you become so highly recommended from me, is that I see how you operate. You've got such a backbone that you don't let people push you around.
Yeah.
But you do it with a bloody smile on your face.
You have to have a backbone. You have to have a bit, me and Ricky always say, you have to have a bit of dog in you in real estate. Like you do need
But
to have
that dog in
you.
ya.
Like you do. You need to have a backbone. Do you know how many listings and stuff, if I look back and people are like, oh, she's a sweet young girl, she's not going to be able to negotiate. Do you know how many people walk into my open homes and you get like the dad coming in thinking that they can like spin like this sales pitch because they bought one property in their life and they know everything it is about properties. I'm like, bring it on. I've been through some situations and I've had so many conversations over 12 years. I can handle most situations. So I've got a really good backbone now. But I think it can come across, oh, she's a young, sweet girl. She's so sweet. Would she be able to do that? And I think in real estate, like, if you are wanting to get into real estate, you do need to have some oomph about you. You need to be able to push back, because there's situations where you do need that, and you need to be able to have a bit of urgency. It's not a chilled industry that you can just cruise. You can do, but you won't do well. If you want to earn under 100K in real estate, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
A lot of time. So going back to what we were speaking about before with how your success has helped shape Tolga, because I remember a lot of conversations that you and I had through just before that he launched the van, and you were like, I really want him to do this. I really want him to succeed in it. How do you think that's helped him, seeing you be so successful in what you do, to inspire him to do what
you are, like, you become who you hang out with, right?
Yeah.
We spend so much time together. We're always together. So I think I've definitely helped push him. I think it was definitely COVID. So Tolga sucks at working under people. He's just not, he does not the type of person that likes to be told what to do. He's European, he's Turkish. I don't know if you've ever been to Turkey, you will understand that Turkish men like to do things their own way. So he just does not like to be told what to do. And yeah, he was always just destined to just do his own thing. And he's always been interested. Like, I think me listening to podcasts every day, he listens now to YouTube clips every single day. And it's all self-development stuff around like business and how to increase revenue and how to increase his prices and do this and do that. And it's amazing. But that's, I think, just out of being around me.
Yeah.
So I think we've grown together. And it was always like, through COVID, he was in hospitality. Like, there was no work. So he was pushed to do it.
He had to change his outlook on it, like many people did throughout COVID.
And
whether in hospitality, whether
So he started in COVID he actually did, the first job was my friend Alex's baby shower. That was his first catering gig, which was awesome. So I started him off, and then he got a taste of it. And it just
rolls from there. Yeah. You got a taste of it, like taste the tea.
Taste the Tolga. You got a taste of it, and then from there it's just grown. But yeah, we've definitely empowered. Like, he comes to me for a lot of business advice, but I always talk to him. I probably don't take his advice like he takes mine. His advice is funny. It's funny, but he listens. That's the main thing. Is what you need for a partner. But I definitely think we've helped each other. Yeah. But yeah, I think him seeing me do my own thing, and also I want to be with a partner that, I think for me as well, I want to be with someone that pushes themselves. So I think I'm like that as well. Not that I want a partner exactly like me, but I think it's, I find that attractive.
As somebody that is very career driven, we've spoken about it a couple of times in the past, and it's not just a male podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but you want to have kids at some point. What does that look like to you as the career that you're in?
Depends on what day it is. I sometimes think I do, and then others I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Don't know. I'm still undecided on that topic if I will have kids, but we'll see. We will see. I'm just taking it day by day.
What's the thought process? Take me behind that, because especially being in, and I don't mean to put pressure on you, can be taboo to speak about it in some ways, is that if you are in your early 30s and you are very career driven, you want to do so much over the next couple of years, and which is very admirable, but you also have spoken about having kids at some point. Yeah. What day is it that you think the trade-off is that I don't want to have kids, to some days having kids? Because I feel like a lot of females go through this, and some of them don't really ever want to talk about it.
I think I am working through that, I think. No, and I'm happy to talk about it. I think recently I was having this year has been fucking wild for work. So I think the thought that goes through my mind is when I'm at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night and my phone's still blowing up.
Yeah.
And I'm still dealing with deals. I'm like, how the fuck would I ever have a kid in this industry? It's definitely work related. I have an issue because I have an addiction to my job, probably. And then I'm like, how do you bring a kid into this? And then Tolga's, if we have a kid, you need to be around. You can't just expect me to do all the work. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? So it's just up to me to have that sacrifice.
Do you feel like there's a trade-off with males? Because exactly in that, it feels like most of the time a female wants the child, and they're more than happy to carry the burden of having a child. Now, that's a very harsh way of saying it, but there are good things and bad things about having a child. And when you are extremely busy, it does take away a lot of your time. So that's the trade-off. And a woman in that position is more than happy to go, yeah, I'm happy to stay home, do all this. And a male is more like, I can go to work, I can work longer hours, I can make sure I provide for us. Do you think that there's a difference between a male saying that and a female? Yeah, or do you think it's common ground now that it's 2025 and it's just something that we have to get used to?
Yeah, I think me and Togs always talk about it. He's happy to be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
So that also
But you need to be around at some capacity.
Yeah. I can't just be like, yeah, cool, he's a kid and see ya. I'll see you.
I'll see you for the good times and I won't be here for the shit.
So I do need, it's my problem that I've got to work with. Although I think Tog would happily not have kids as well. He would just do probably what I
Yeah.
but yeah, I just we converse a lot about this topic.
If Tolga could have the child, would he do it for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think he would. Yeah. We spoke about it all the time. It's not like something we don't speak about. We've had a lot of conversations. And also at work, Ricky's can't have a kid this year. We need to get X more staff on. So
Fucking Ricky.
I can't have a kid because Ricky told me I can't, which is fine. But I'm not having a kid this year. We're going to Mexico and Texas. We've got lots of big plans. I'm doing Target 100 this year. So I think...
November 14th, be there.
Yeah, so Target 100, we'll see. I've got lots of still things that I want to do. I don't know. I think the older we get, it's getting fucking harder. A lot of my friends aren't even in really good relationships. They're the same age as me.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to have a kid in the next couple of years? Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
can
100%.
meet someone. It's a lot of pressure around women and having kids. And I think it's a topic that needs to be spoken more about.
Yeah.
And it's hard because women now we're all like a lot of us are career driven now. It's not the day
What
and
happens
age.
as you get older is that, as you said, there's so many things that you want to be able to do in your life. And it's that, what am I missing out on by having a child? Maybe I didn't do enough in my 20s. Maybe I did too much, not too much career building, but like I did a lot of career building. There's things that I want to do before I have a child. I know that there's been periods in my life where I'm like, where the thought of a child has scared the crap out of me because I'm like, there's still so much that I want to do in my life. And sometimes that might have brought me down.
But I think there's just like a lot of pressure because the female is the one normally that has to stay at home and all that stuff. So I think
the role reversal is a different look at it for sure.
Yeah, and it's also women nowadays, like back in the day, like the partner went out and worked and the women stayed at home.
Yeah.
Like women now want to make something of themselves.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of people are having kids later and later now because they want to do things. They want to they want to achieve things before they tick off that list. But a lot of people want to have kids. But yeah, it's just also finding a partner. The dating scene sounds awful.
Something's really interesting that I learned more recently is that we always see in society that there's a much older man that has a child with a young woman, but sperm generally deteriorates after the age of 35, just like what women's eggs do. Nobody's really ever going out there and saying to a male, have you got your sperm frozen or anything like that? But that's a conversation that probably needs to be had that isn't said as highly. Now, IVF is such a big thing in our society now. People that have absolutely like nothing wrong with either side, the sperm and the egg just don't want to get it on, essentially.
I've thought about maybe freezing my eggs just in case, I leave it too long. But yeah, I don't know. I think if we're going to do it, it'll be in the next couple of years, but not this year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This year is a year of having fun, Target 100, holidays, living our best life. Probably not next year either. I really want to eat a turkey in Greece next year. I've got a lot to achieve still.
You've got heaps.
Yeah.
What are the biggest lessons that you've learned from being in a relationship?
I don't know. I think I'm always learning. I think you're always growing. I think the thing is, my advice is that I see a lot of relationship breakdowns and I'm like, what the fuck? Or people getting married and then they separate within that year. It's wild. It's quite common and it's becoming quite common because it's so easy to move on these days and just go find another partner and find that spark that happens at the start. But yeah, you got to be constantly growing together.
Yeah.
As a couple, you got to be growing together just like me and Togs where we've come from. If you look at our relationship, if he didn't progress in a business, I don't know if I would have stayed with him. I don't know. It's just a small thing. It's not that I'm judging him for what he does for a living. But if he wasn't growing with me, I don't know. I would have outgrown him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that
definitely happens.
the person that I
people outgrow people all the time.
all the time. And you're always changing, so you need to be growing together or you're growing apart.
I definitely get that sense, and I've got friends that have been in that position as well, where they have started to grow as a person, and they felt that their partner was staying stagnant, so then they just grew apart naturally.
And then you just fall out of love.
Yeah, that is.
So I do think the biggest thing is just growing together, and if you're not on the same page as your partner and you're not communicating and you're not wanting to do this.
So that's an incredibly hard thing and a really hard conversation to have with somebody is, hey, we're just not on the right path anymore. I know that we've been together for 2 or 3 years, but...
Too late, probably at that point, though. You need to be growing at the same, not the same kind of pace. I think it's normal to have seasons and then for one person to have a season where they're not on the same page, but it's picking the other person up sooner. I think if you leave it for a couple of years and then you bring it up, that's too late. They're gone for the most part.
What do you mean by that?
I think you need to be growing together all the time. You need to be constantly.
But you can get to a relationship where you realise that there's a few years in where you're just on different paths now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I think that's still lack of communication and work in between. Because I think, but I also think people change, or you might meet someone that you're like, wow, this person, it might open you up to be like, this person is really not my person. I don't know. There's all lots of different scenarios. So I'm generalizing here.
Let's go back to that exact example that you just spoke about. Yeah, I know, but I want to really hone in that. If you are then talking about you're with somebody and then you've met somebody else and you're going, wow, this person's a lot more driven, you're finding not only physical qualities, but that characteristic qualities very attractive. Is it almost like a momentary where you're like, okay, I've just realized that I shouldn't be with the person that I'm with anymore? Because
I just think
I'm
it
realizing
opens up your mind. Maybe it gets you start thinking, and
because you can get quite locked into a relationship where you don't think, or you don't realize there's something else that you need, and within your personal growth journey, all of a sudden it only takes one moment, one instance, one day away, one holiday or something like one decision, and then all of a sudden your character can change and you can be realizing that you need something else. And then sometimes you realize that it's the person that you're with can't give that to you.
Everyone's going through different journeys too as well. Like people
is that communication on the back of that?
Yeah, I think there's so many different factors you could bring up with this though. Like people are always working through things. I don't know. I think that people have like trauma problems. I don't know. I think you just constantly need to be talking and working through issues. I think something that I've been really good at is facing every challenge with like head on and not just like trying to put a band-aid over it and pretend it's not happening. Is talk about it, work through my problems. And that's why I'm so like mentally strong. Like I haven't had a perfect anything, but I've always worked through all my problems or just spoken about it. And I think that it's easy to put a band-aid and forget it's not, I don't know, whatever. But I think there's lots of different things there to unpack.
Do you have somebody that you vent to regularly? Do you see a counselor or a therapist or anything like that?
I don't know. We were speaking about this with a friend the other day, and she was like, do you want to see? Because I was just curious. I'm a curious person. I ask lots of questions because she's seeing one. And I was like, does it help? And she's like, yeah, it does. She's really helped me X amount of times. She's like, do you want to see her? And I was like, no, not really. Like, very
personal thing, because I see a therapist myself, and I've transitioned away from saying that my therapist is a therapist. It's more of a life coach, because I feel like is now for the good times, and then she's also there for when I'm feeling shit, because it's important to talk about when you're feeling well and cement that feeling within yourself, but also you're not going to feel good all the time. I remember there was a period last year, later in the year, where I was like, I think that I'm starting to feel better now. I was starting to feel a lot better about where I was heading, and how I felt about life in general was improving quite a bit. And then it was the next month later, it would have been 3 weeks later, like I felt my life was falling apart. I felt like I accomplished so much from a personal point of view last year. And then I got to a really stale point of where I was, where I had to sit down with my life coach and revisit some things that had put me on track earlier in my life. And a big thing for that was planning for me, giving myself direction and writing down a lot of goals and all that sort of stuff. So after I went back to that, I felt like I gave myself and my life real direction, not only career driven, personal goals, what I want to do on holidays, how I want to treat people, things that I want to accomplish with family and friends, just being there. If I'm in the car, pick up the phone and call a friend. Writing down these things was so helpful to me, and a constant reminder that it sits over there next to my desk. So if I'm ever procrastinating and I look up, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I feel like I'm progressing. It really comes back to being an important piece for me, is sitting down with somebody that's somewhat impartial and I feel that cares about me and my life direction, to really make me feel like I'm on the right track.
You asked me last year when you came over to my house and we're having a wine, and you were like, are you happy? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, you don't sound very convincing. But I just think I have this weird thing that I just think that you can't always be happy. It's not weird. It's like you can't always be fucking happy. I'm mostly happy. I would say 8 or 9 times out of the week, I'm pretty happy.
That's an extraordinary figure.
I am pretty happy. And
that's huge.
I put aside a lot of, I don't know, I think I don't sweat the small stuff.
Do you think that's mindset though?
I've worked on myself a lot.
How do you think that you have worked on yourself to be able to be into that position though?
Just listening. I've done so much self-development. Just like again, I listen to this. I think I'm really good at compounding. Every day I just do something to get myself 1% better. 1% better. And that's something I always tell Top. Just 1% better. It'll compound. Watch your business grow. And he started with nothing. And now look at him. He's got consistent business. So it's just 1%. And that compound
Give us one example that you think has been most life-changing from your self-development journey that has attributed to your positive mindset that leads to more happy days than not.
Just all this, like the shit that actually people care about is so minuscule. If
Yeah.
you zoom out, it does not matter. I don't know, there's the amount of times I've lost sleep over, like when I was younger or starting out in business, or I'd missed a listing or a house deal or a deal fell through. I still not sleep about that all weekend, or stress, or think that it was my fault.
It's easy to get
And
caught up in that,
you
though.
get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Now I don't know.
How do you do that?
I just let it go.
How?
I literally let it go. I'm just so good at being like, oh,
I think that
fuck
there's
it.
so much going on in your life that you don't have time to dwell on things.
No, I still have a lot of still moments, but no, I just know it's not important. I know I can fix it. I know if a deal falls apart, we'll find another buyer. I know that there's a way out. I know there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Shit's hard, and there's always hard things to work with. And I'm sure there's days, but the days that I'm struggling are the days that I haven't gone to Pilates, or I haven't done all the right things to make sure I'm looking after myself, or I had heaps of drinks on the weekend. Like that's, you know, and then it reflects how I'm feeling during the week. But my mindset's really strong. I do not sweat the small stuff, and most of it's not important. So I'm pretty happy most of the time. Cool. And yeah, I just let it go. I wake up, and I think the best thing you can do on a shit day is go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
And wake up and
100%.
you've had good sleep, and you think of it so.
Funnily enough, that's how I realise when I'm in a shit mood, or if I've had an argument with somebody, I am fine the next day. I just need to sleep it off.
The best thing you can do, and this is my mentality, so every day I get home, and I told everyone in the office, and a few of them do it now, is so when I get home, Tolga knows, like he'll be making dinner or whatever, he knows that I go straight to the shower, and I have this mentality that I'm washing the day off.
Yeah.
So I have a nice hot drainy, and I'm like washing away my problems.
Yeah.
And that mentally, and then I put my pajamas on or comfy clothes, and I've washed the day off. And then you sleep it off. And the next day you're so refreshed. Like so many problems happen in the day, and I'm like, do you know what? Let me just think about it. Or I'm not going to call that client back right now. I'm going to sleep on it. And the next day you're just renewed. You think of things differently, and you have a completely different perspective. It's like when you get in an argument, just like don't, or like in the heat of the moment, you say things that you don't mean. Just don't. Let it go. Go to sleep.
Sit on it. Sleep on it.
Yep. Same thing with it.
Write something down in your notes.
You should see my notes. It's fucked. My notes, the amount of things that I brain dump because
it helps you get it out there. It's a big thing. Now, I remember an old story that
151 notes this year.
Abraham Lincoln is very famous for writing letters and not sending them, putting them in his drawer and sleeping on them. That was something that he did religiously, and it often helped him better make decisions and then get his anger out or frustration.
Or when I wake up in the night and I'm overthinking a situation, I write out the message that I want to send to that person. I write out the problem.
Oh, mate, I have so many of those in my phone.
So many. And then
and then I went through before and I was just like, I'm never going to send that message. I'm glad I didn't send that message. It's big.
And when I'm going on a flight, like then I go through and read them when I'm going away.
Yeah.
And then I clear out my phone. But even I can look back and go, I look back and I've got like 2019, all the goals that I had that year. And I save those moments because then I look back as like how far I've come.
Yeah, it's huge.
And like all the problems that you thought were like a big deal, they're fucking not. They're really not. So I'm just really good at letting shit go now. And they're just small problems.
They are.
And yeah, just don't, like literally do not sweat the small stuff. It will be fine and you'll get through it. It's all good. That's all.
Jess, it's been amazing having you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate all your time for how busy your schedule is. So I hope that you had fun today. And we appreciate your
I feel like we still have so much to talk about. Now I'm getting rolled up. I'm ready to go.
I do appreciate it. Are we still rolling on this one?
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into another episode. As you've seen the video beforehand, we did a bit of a promo that we are going to start going through situations, anonymous stories that people are going to be sending in. I would love to hear anything that you have. It doesn't have to be love related. It can generally be a work situation that you would like to be spoken about. And if you just drop an anonymous name, the email address that we would love to hear from you is heyopod@gmail.com. Please send through. Let's keep going with this little community that we have. Please and subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps us grow so much more through people like you that are watching. There are other people like you out there, believe it or not. And if you like and subscribe, then it's going to put us in front of them. It's going to help our little community grow even more. So thank you so much for watching another episode or listening if you're on Spotify. We look forward to the next one. Thanks, guys.